you asked me when I was a child what I wanted to do when I grew up, I was going to be a vet or a dolphin trainer or a dog trainer or a dairy farmer. And everybody, sets it aside that those are just child dreams. Well, I was lucky. I did grow up. I went to, I pursued animal health technology. I was living the life. I actually did get to spend a summer working as a zookeeper. Did you know tigers like catnip? They play with it the same way a cat does. I got to train cows. You can train a cow to heel, just like you do a dog. Everything that I wanted to do as a child was happening. The world was ahead of me, and there was no stopping me. After graduation, I chose to volunteer with an organization to go overseas and use my skills as in animal health in a developing country. It was great. Everything was fabulous. I fell in love with the village. I fell in love with the people. I learned the language really well, and everything was great there. About 6 months in, I went on vacation. Should have been the time of my life. I was in a virtual paradise. Unfortunately, that was the week my life changed. Now, you have to remember, in Malawi, phones really weren't around. Cell phones weren't there. Electricity, we might have a couple of hours a day if we were lucky. So going on vacation there meant you just picked up and you went. I had some colleagues and some friends who lived at the beach or nearabouts, and the way things were done there is you just showed up. There was no calling ahead. I did all my safety checks ahead of time. I told the people where I was going, when I'd be back, who I'd be with, and I figured if those friends weren't there, there was always a hostel right on the lake that I could stay at. Everything was in balance. When I got to the lake, there also was a priest local to that area that we had been told ahead of time would be a safety resource, so I checked in with him, told him that I was going to be there. No big deal. I had all the balances in key. My friends weren't there. I checked into the hostel. The following day, I went to the beach. I can still remember to this day what I was wearing. I can smell the mangoes. They were ripe that season, that time of year, and they were falling. The beach there, turquoise, beautiful, bathtub warm. It was paradise. You could talk to the fishermen as they went in and out. Perfect setting for a vacation. I was out swimming, and a couple minutes in, I felt something on my back. Sharp, couldn't feel anything. And what had happened is the hostel owners actually had 2 German Shepherds. They were pursuing to drown me then. I still don't know how I got out. When I got out, my back was full of cuts. My t-shirt was shredded. But I survived. Still not sure how, but I can only count it to the fact that the dogs themselves weren't really good swimmers and they couldn't really attack anything while they were trying to swim. Knowing I needed some first aid treatment, and because, 911 didn't exist there and there was, no phones or anything, the best solution I could do was go to that local priest that we knew as a safety resource in the country and get some first aid treatment. Unfortunately, things went from bad to worse, and long story short, that evening, I was sexually assaulted by said priest. Things just, they plummeted. My life completely changed then. The following day, I returned to the village where I lived. The colleagues I was with knew something was wrong, but they couldn't kind of figure it out, and I returned to Canada. When I returned to Canada, the organization that I was with, they put me in a treatment center run by clergy. Talk about re-traumatizing the victim. I was there for a month, and after a month they deemed me fixed and deemed that they had they didn't need to do anything with me anymore. They were done with me. So I floundered around Toronto for a while, and fortunately I found some really good friends there who kind of helped me up when I was having some bad times. And I had family who checked on me regularly. I eventually returned to Nova Scotia and still floundered around. Basically, the doctors said, this is as good as it's gonna get. Didn't really have a name for what was going on with me. This was who the new me was. Fortunately, I still like dogs. So, you know, despite being attacked by a couple of dogs, I still love dogs. I could get past the fact that the dogs had attacked me. So the time came for me to get another 4-footed companion in the house. And growing up, I loved the stories of Big Red. I loved the idea of an Irish setter and going hunting with it. And lo and behold, there was an ad in the paper, and this is when the paper came daily, for a litter of Irish setters. I went, I thought I asked all the right questions, and I came home with a little tiny Irish setter. Snuggliest little thing going, happy as can be, and he was an old soul right from the very beginning. Unfortunately, a few days later, we realized there was something not quite right. A vet visit confirmed this, and at 12 weeks old, the vet said, cut your losses, it's probably best to euthanize him. I looked at the dog, and he was happy, he was pain-free, life was his oyster, and I kind of knew everybody had discounted me. So I decided then I wasn't going to give up on him. I had given up on myself, but I wasn't going to give up on him. We pursued second opinions. We did drugs that really shouldn't have been used in puppies, and he survived, and he thrived. And we started competing in agility and obedience, and again, we were told, you can't do that with an Irish setter. They're stupid, you know. Well, the wall of ribbons says differently. I started finding my feet, and as I learned to advocate for him, I started advocating for myself. And I found my voice, and I self-referred to the Avalon Center. I had a name for what I had, post-traumatic stress disorder. From there, I could pursue some healing. Now, Skylar, that was the little Irish setter. He grew up. We pursued hunting, which he absolutely loved, and then we pursued scent detection. Scent detection became what I do. You see, my job is I get to play with dogs all day, every day now. I teach scent detection for my own business, and Skylar taught me that I could do this. A few months into running my first business, or the business I'm running today, he was just shy of 11 years old. That little dog who had a death sentence at 12 weeks old was almost 11 years old. But his time was done. And I helped him across the bridge, and he's still missed to this day. But he passed the torch. So today, I have a business that's thriving. You know, it has its bumps and bruises, and, you know, there's days that I just want to give up, but I keep going. And I have a couple other dogs that he kind of passed the torch to. I have another Irish setter at home, biggest clown in the world and the biggest snuggle bum in the world, and he loves to hunt. He taught me that, you know what, if you love your job, you will literally die for your job, which he almost did. And now I have another little dog, a 2-year-old Springer Spaniel named Camo, and he's my business partner. He goes everywhere with me. He's actually trained to detect bed bugs, and he's now learning to find lost dogs. And one of the things that I'm lucky to get every day is I get to meet great people. And because scent detection starts to teach people to see the world through the eyes of their dogs, it really builds relationships. I get to see timid dogs come out of their shell. I get to help owners see their dogs through a new light, something that they never have been. And when Camo and I get to go out and do bed bug detection, and I say get to because it's a privilege when we go, we sometimes see some of the marginalized in the world. And it's kind of interesting because some of these marginalized looked at us suspiciously when we first started inspecting, what's this dog coming in here for? But now, because Camo gives them a nice cuddle that he gives me always, They're proud to show what they're doing to help alleviate the spread of bed bugs. They're happy to see camo and want to make sure that safety happens because camo showed that they matter. Same as that little red dog showed me that I matter. Because we all matter, and sometimes when things aren't going quite right, it takes a little red dog with a death sentence to let you know that you matter when nothing else does. Thank you for your time, everybody.